The night the sheriff told me to step away from my own shoreline, I tasted iron and knew I was done being polite. 3 weeks earlier, I'd closed on the old fishing lake, 126 quiet acres wrapped around a long, patient sheet of water folks call Miller's Lake. My dad taught me to cast a Zebco right here when I was 8. I still keep his dented thermos in the truck, coffee stains and all. When the prior owner passed, his kids let the place slide toward a tax sale. I chased the title like breath. Cleared liens, walked the lines, drove stakes in clay. When the deed hit my palm, it felt like shaking my father's hand again. First Saturday. I set a folding chair on the east bank where the willow leans Dad's spot. Fish hold in the shade, he'd say. I let the morning be quiet. Then the parade arrived 3 golf carts, a silver SUV, and an attitude. At the wheel. A woman with a clipboard and sunglasses you could check your hair in. Behind her, 2 men in tucked palaz hands, soft, smiles sour. No hello, you're trespassing, she said. I blinked. On my own lake? This lake is part of Willow Ridge, she declared, tapping the clipboard. Exclusive use for dues-paying residents. That dock, she jabbed at an aluminum finger stabbing into my water, is our common property. Leave, or we call the police. Something in me tightened. I stood slow. Ma'am, I own this lake. The parcel includes the bed, the banks, and the road. Your dock sits on my shoreline and extends into my water. If there's a misunderstanding, we can sort it like neighbors. She smirked. I've used that dock for years. Precedent, easement. Our newsletter explains it. I didn't have a newsletter. I had paperwork. From the truck, warranty deed, meets and bounds. County map with Miller's Lake colored like a bruise. The Polo twins leaned in, as if the words might bite. The woman didn't look. Phone up. Last chance. Call, I said, surprising myself with how calm I sounded. Bring your covenants, your recorded plats, and the permit that authorizes a community dock on a lake you don't own. They called. 10 minutes later, blue lights painted the sycamores. Young deputy, polite, hand near the belt. He checked IDs, listened, then asked to see documents. Clipboard queen waved glossy HOA rules: no fireworks, no trailers, no loud music as if they were law. I handed him my deed. He paced to the waterline, studied loose bolts, a missing guardrail, a sun-bleached sign, residents only. He sighed. Folks, this is civil. Can't decide property rights out here, but I can keep the peace. That's all I want, I said. Peace. He needs to leave, the woman snapped. He's not a resident. The deputy rubbed his temple. Ma'am, his license matches the deed. This is his land. It's our lake, one polo man huffed, cheeks pinking. We mow the common path. We've got barbecue photos. My pulse thudded in my teeth. Anger hot and useless, buzzed like hornets. I looked past them, where the water turned graphite under a scudding cloud. I saw Dad's hands teaching me a figure-8 knot. He wouldn't shout. He'd do the next right thing. Deputy, I said softer. Will you stand by while I post notices on the dock? It's an unpermitted structure on my land and over my water. Until we sort this out, no one should be on it. It's not safe, he nodded. Posting notice is reasonable. Nobody uses the dock until this gets figured out. I'll document the call. The HOA sputtered. Clipboard trembled. Can't shut down our dock. I can keep people off something that isn't legal, I said. And I can read. Your covenants stop at your lot lines. They never cross the lake boundary because you never owned it. With the deputy watching, I tacked bright orange signs. Notice of unsafe structure closed pending compliance. I listed my name, parcel number, and a phone number any reasonable person could call. I took photos with timestamps, ran caution tape across the entrance. The dock blinked warning against all that quiet water. We'll sue, she hissed. You might, I said. Bring recorded easements, not a newsletter. Bring permits for building over water. County at minimum. Maybe state or federal if there's navigable connection. If you've got all that, We'll talk like neighbors. If not, we'll fix it right. She climbed into the SUV. The Polos gathered their pride. The deputy tipped his hat. The lake felt suddenly complicated. I sat back down, hands shaking. Willow leaves whispered. A dragonfly stitched green light above the water. Anger drained to disbelief, then resolve. This wasn't about a fishing spot. It was about doing right. By a place my dad loved, a lake that deserved respect more than picnic photos. I called the county Monday morning. The clerk sent me 2 water resources. Patient woman named Mariah, voice of someone who reads bad plans for a living, heard me out. Email the parcel ID and dock photos, she said. If it's below ordinary high water or extends into the water, we'll check permits. Is there an outlet stream? There's a spillway on the north end that runs to Brush Creek, I said. In heavy rain, you can kayak it. Copy. If the lake connects to a navigable waterway, state law might kick in, maybe federal. Don't quote me yet. Let us check maps. Either way, nobody builds over public water or on someone else's land without permission. Her words steadied me. This was about lines and maps, and water between what belongs to everyone and what belongs to the person who cares for it. I sent the deity survey photos. She promised a site visit by Wednesday. A white county pickup rolled in behind mine. 2 inspectors stepped out. Mariah, with a clipboard of her own, and a tall, level-eyed guy named Curtis. We walked the bank. Curtis knelt at the footing, pressed a finger to cracked concrete, frowned at exposed rebar, measured length, height above water, distance from my staked line. No theatrics, just facts. Any record of a permit? Mariah asked. Curtis shook his head. No shoreline stabilization, no dock authorization. If this was built years ago, it skipped us. Storms have undercut the bank. 8, it's unsafe. A second truck pulled in State Department of Natural Resources. A biologist climbed out with a staff gauge and the calm of a man who lives in waders. Ben, we shook hands. I walked him to the spillway where clear water shushed into a ribbon that roars in spring and disappears in August. He listened, literally stood there and listened to the flow. Brush Creek is navigable during high flow, he said finally. Your lake discharges into the public system. That doesn't make the lake public. He saw me tense. Title says you own the bed and banks, but structures extending into water or changing hydrology need proper authorization. If an HOA wants a shared dock, they need the landowner's consent and approvals from county, maybe U.S. depending on impact. So this dock, I said, has neither? Ben eyed the sagging rail and splinters big enough to build a canoe. No one should be on it. We walked back to a semicircle of residents at the caution tape-folded arms, pursed mouths. Clipboard, Queen Janer materialized with papers. Our attorney will be in touch, she announced, thrusting printouts at Mariah. This lake has always been Willow Ridge's amenity. Is the easement recorded? Mariah asked, like a nurse asking about allergies. It's in our bylaws, Janet said. Bylaws aren't a deed, Curtis answered gently. If it isn't recorded against this parcel, it doesn't run with the land. And even if you could cross to the shoreline, you can't anchor a structure on someone else's property or over water without permits. That's separate. We mow, we mulch. We've hosted the 4th here for a decade, Janet protested. Potlucks make memories, Ben said. Not law, murmurs. A gray-haired man in a U.S. Navy cap stepped forward. Ma'am, my grandson slipped on that dock last fall, he said quietly. Could have broken his neck. The wind shifted. The chorus cracked into solos. Mom with a toddler on her hip said, We asked to fix the rails last spring, wasn't in the budget. It's not safe. It's not safe. Janet pressed a smile on like a Band-Aid. This is being handled. Please don't talk to officials without counsel. Anger nudged my ribs. Disbelief at how far they'd stretched certainty over water they didn't own. But anger is blunt. Action is sharper. What's the process? County will issue a violation to whoever constructed the dock, she said, flipping pages. We'll copy you.
Immediate closure, you've done that.
Then two paths. Remove and restore the bank to standards, or submit a new permit with landowner consent and full compliance. No consent, no permit. Any work over water may require state review. Given the condition, we recommend removal and restoration. You can't just take away our lake access, Janet blurted. You don't lose what you never lawfully had, Ben said, still kind. If you want access, negotiate. Pay to build a licensed, permitted structure on terms the owner agrees to, or launch from within your plat legally. But that dock? No. A hush fell like a curtain. I looked at them tired dads grandmas with. Sunscreen in the hairline, teenagers wanting a place to dangle feet and scroll. Not enemies. Neighbors told a story so many times they believed it. Pride flared my lake, my land, my dad's memory. Then responsibility edged in for the water, for safety, for doing it better than a parking lot fight. Here's my line in the water, I said. The dock stays closed until it's removed and the bank restored, or there's a lawful, permitted agreement that respects the lake and the law. If you want to do it right, I'm willing. But I won't be bullied off my own shoreline. Navy cap nodded. Teenagers shrugged fine, fish from the bank. Gosh. Janet's sunglasses hid whatever her eyes were doing. The notices went out the next morning. 2 weeks changed everything. The county's violation letter hit like a stone in a still pond ripples through the HOA board. An emergency meeting, an email blast with more exclamation points than facts. A contractor refused to repair the dock without permits. Their attorney sent a chest-puffed letter implying easements that didn't exist. My reply was 6 sentences and a title report. Meanwhile, the shrugging teenager showed up with a spinning rod and offered 2 lures for base secrets. I pointed to where the lilies thicken and the bottom drops off like a surprise. He landed his first keeper that afternoon and whooped so loud a heron barked back. Janet fought on until their insurance carrier weighed in. Unsafe structure are 2 words that make premiums ache. The carrier recommended immediate closure and professional evaluation. Noting coverage problems for unpermitted improvements on land the HOA didn't own. Justice doesn't always arrive with trumpets. Sometimes it comes on letterhead. On a Tuesday that felt like September, even though the calendar said June, 3 board members came without golf carts. Janet, paler now. The Navy Capwalt and Eliza, a math teacher. They stood where my caution tape fluttered like prayer flags. Janet spoke first, voice low. We were wrong, she said. About ownership. About the dock. About how we talk to you. I'm sorry. Pride wanted a victory lap. Dignity wanted the porch. I nodded once. Thank you, Walt handed me a folder. We voted to remove the dock and restore the bank to county standards, he said. 3 bids. We'll pay from reserves. But he looked at the water, at a mom teaching her boy to skip stones from the legal bank. We still hope for some access. The kids grew up fishing here. We'll do it right. It's inside. Honest bids, sediment controls, native plantings, button bush, blue flag iris to heal the scar. Then a second section from Eliza, framework for new agreements. Small, seasonal floating platform anchored entirely on my side, removable in storm season. Capacity limits. Quiet hours. No motors. HOA pays. Maintenance logs. Full permits. Pod rules. And a clean acknowledgement that the lake is privately owned and any access exists by revocable license. Granted by me, subject to compliance and respect. No puffing. Just terms as calm as the water when the wind lays down. We'll also fund a shoreline restoration workshop, Eliza said, pointing to a county class. Half the erosion is from trampling. We'll build a boardwalk on our side to keep feet off roots. The anger that carried me through the first fight slid into purpose. Dad used to say, any fool can swing a hammer. It takes a neighbor to build a house. Have conditions, I said. Non-negotiable. 1. Remove the old dock within 30 days of county approval and restore the bank under Curtis's eye. 2. Apply for every permit. No post driven, no anchor dropped until approvals are in writing. 3. Anyone who steps on that platform reads and signs the rules. 4. If I find beer cans, wake boats tied off, or sunset turned into a concert, the license goes dark, no arguments. 5. Put a sign at your entrance that says, "Respect the Lacan, mean it." No flinching. Elisa even smiled. Add one more, she said. A yearly lake day trash pickup, native plantings, kids' fishing hour. You pick the Saturday. We'll bring the coffee. We shook on it. Not the lawyer's handshake, though they'd get theirs, but a neighbor's. Walt's grip had the weight of heavy weather. Janet's hand was lighter than that clipboard had ever been. For a second, I saw the person under the sunglasses. Removal day drew a small crowd. Contractors worked from the bank, not the water. Cutting sections and winching them out so rusty bones didn't fall into the lake, Curtis watched, approving with small nods. When the last slab came free, the bank almost exhaled. They laid coconut fiber matting, tucked native plugs through it, pinned it like a quilt, tender, bandaged. A week later, Mariah signed off. The caution tape came down. To a passerby, the lake looked the same. To me, a splinter had been eased from its skin. Permits for the new platform took time. Good things do. While we waited, kids fished from the legal side. Walt taught a clean clinch knot. Jeanette's sunglasses put away handed-out sunscreen and trash bags. Elisa organized a Saturday where we filled 2 truck beds with old fishing line, bottles, and one stubborn tire pretending to be a turtle. When the platform finally floated in small, quiet, Ligolda Lake was glass. Ben stopped by just to smile. Low impact, he said. Easy to pull before storms. You did it right. I stood with Dad's thermos and felt something ease, not triumph. Something calmer, a knot untying. That evening, as the sun slid behind the willow, set my chair at the water's edge and spoke soft, like church or a sleeping house. We did it, Dad. We stood up. We didn't swing wild. We kept your lake honest. A bass rose just offshore. One clean clap on the surface. Sometimes standing up for what's right means standing alone until others find the courage to stand with you. Have you ever faced an HOA like this? Share your story in the comments. I read every one. If you believe some fights are worth having, hit subscribe. Let's stand up together.